The ad campaign for Barbie has been truly incredible, and kudos not just to Warner Brothers Discovery, but the cast and crew of the film. Margot Robbie's red carpet looks alone have done so much to spread word for this film. She looks incredible, and she's just as good in the movie. But the ad campaign becomes even more impressive when you realize that they managed to put Barbie absolutely everywhere, yet still keep the movie itself largely under wraps. Because when I finally got to see Barbie yesterday, I was delighted to see that the film has so many wonderful surprises, big and small. I had a smile on my face, ear to ear, throughout almost the entire film. The only time I didn't smile was when I was laughing out loud or shedding tears. It's just a phenomenal film. So for my review, it's gonna be a bit different. I'm gonna do half a review, half a business video, because I really want to avoid spoilers so that you have just as magical an experience as I did. And really be careful about spoilers because it unfolds so beautifully. I would hate to see you robbed of that experience. So we're going to talk about the burning questions going in, like who is most likely to enjoy this film? Are straight men and kids invited to the party? What are the film's box office chances? Could Barbie really be a billion-dollar picture? And what about its Oscar chances? A lot of people are saying that it could be an awards frontrunner. Is that really true? But where I want to start is because this is still a review, partially. Did I like the film? I loved the movie. I absolutely adored it. In fact, it broke into my top 3 favorite films of all time. Rear Window, The Batman. I'm always putting the latest Batman movie in there. For a while it was The Dark Knight, then it was Joker, now it's The Batman. I'm eating good as a Batman fan. And now Barbie! I feel seen. Now, as you know, based on what I'd heard about this film from several of my sources before I got the chance to see it myself, I was concerned. I was very concerned about it being too message heavy. I mean, it is a Barbie movie made by Greta Gerwig, so we all knew it was going to be feminist, but the question was how much, and would it do it well, or would it be a bull in a china shop? I was nervous. I was very scared, because as this very movie discusses, it is difficult, unfortunately, to strike just the right tone when it comes to feminism. It's to borrow another metaphor, it's a minefield. And so I was concerned that this movie would be too preachy, and it would start a new front on the current culture war that we all find ourselves in. So now that I've seen it, what's the answer? Well, no and yes. So the film is message heavy, but I don't mind because I love the message. I think that Greta Gerwig strikes the perfect tone when it comes to discussing feminism. Of course, the film is still fun, full of energy, and a hilarious comedy for sure. But first and foremost, it's a message movie. Remember how the other day I told you I suspected that this might be an awards film masquerading as a summer blockbuster movie? Bullseye! That's exactly what's going on. Not that it can't still make big bucks, but it's more, it's more of an awards film than it is a big summer blockbuster. So I don't think Barbie is preachy at all. The film said everything I wanted it to say, and even added a lot to the conversation that I had not thought of or had not figured out how to put into words. So all that was great. But this movie is going to certainly be a lightning rod with certain groups. Anyone who has a problem with representation or feminism, for example, cringes every time fridging gets mentioned, and unfortunately we have to bring fridging up a lot. They just fridged somebody in Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, which made a lot of us very angry, by the way. Or thinks women belong primarily at home, or that mother is the only job that a woman should aspire to. Barbie's very pro-mother in many ways, both traditional moms and mother. But obviously that should not be what defines a woman. So if you think that is, well, then this is not the movie for you, unless you're looking for something to complain about. In fact, I was surprised at how far Greta Gerwig goes at multiple points in this film. And that not only that she went there, but that both Warner Brothers Discovery and Mattel signed on. I mean, kudos to Mattel in particular. They even allow themselves to be somewhat vilified in the course of the film. But just remember that they approve that. And it worked. It's a great part of the story. Also, by the way, Mattel has a fun logo in front of the movie. We see so many logos for other companies outside of Hollywood these days in front of movies because, Hollywood is trying to cash in on so many beloved brands, toys, video games, etc. So to see Mattel, one of the oldest brands, get in on that, I thought that was a lot of fun. But again, I feel Gerwig handles difficult subject matters perfectly. I'm going to use that word a lot. I feel the movie is perfect. I wouldn't change a single thing. Well, from a creative perspective. I think business-wise, I am a little nervous about it. Because not everybody's going to agree that the movie is perfect. Some people will feel it's far from perfect. But I think it's perfect. And I guess when you take a strong stance, there's no way everybody's going to agree with you. So the movie is quite bold for doing that. But Greta Gerwig handles not just feminism, but telling a story about Barbie, I think, perfectly. And that is a difficult thing to do, on both fronts. This movie, I would go so far as to say it restored my faith in the Barbie brand, which I feel has not been what it once was. Here, I felt restored as to what Barbie dolls stand for and their purpose, not just when it comes to shaping young girls, but what Barbie can mean for women even when they're done playing with toys, that it can become a brand and a movement that goes beyond just the toy store. And that's exciting. I mean, I think it has done that with this very movie. So who can enjoy this film? Is it just a feminist fever dream? Well, that's definitely a part of it. But the film is so well made that I think it succeeds as entertainment as well. I would describe it as the Truman Show meets Willy Wonka. It has an edge to it, a boldness that is unusual for not just for female stories, but even more unusual for female storytellers. I think the closest I've seen is Clueless, perhaps, but Clueless was much smaller in scope, whereas Barbie is a big movie. Again, it has all the trappings of a summer blockbuster, but the soul of an awards movie. The first half of the film shockingly recreates what it feels like to play with Barbie dolls. Anyone who's ever played with Barbie will feel like they're right back in it. So I was impressed with that because that's something the trailers have not conveyed. I was like, wow, this feels like playing with Barbie. And it's a lot of fun to be in Barbie Land, a very well realized place. The world building in this movie is incredibly impressive. So much thought has clearly gone into it, and it's so well executed. Not just the world, but how the Barbies and Kens act in it. That was really cool. I feel women and the LGBT community will love this movie. It's a Bravo fantasy film for adults and the ultimate sleepover movie, I think, for tweens. Now, how about little kids? A number of you, when I first tweeted out my reaction yesterday, I got a couple of people asking me, well, what about little kids? What about small kids? Well, the movie is extremely sophisticated, and it's not made for little kids at all. However, that doesn't mean that they couldn't enjoy it. It's full of bright colors and big performances. But be prepared to discuss some of the subtext after the movie. I would say if you have a child under 10, every child is unique and different, and you as a parent know your child best. But I would say around 10 personally. But even if you think your child's anywhere around that age range, I would recommend checking out the movie first, not only to see if you think it's something your child would enjoy, but also so that you're ready to field the questions it will likely bring up afterwards. Like, the ending of the film is definitely going to bring up questions. Healthy questions. I was scared about the ending of the movie. I was really worried. I was like, talk about a tightrope. But I think they did it. But it's going to bring up questions. And it's definitely going to bring up questions. And so I don't think you want to be surprised. For anyone 10 and up, though, it's great because it's not only fun, but I would say there's a lot to learn from it, and it's very inspirational. All right, then how about guys? Can guys enjoy Barbie? Is Barbie a movie for men? Well, I think it depends on what type of guy you are. If you have a lot of women in your life who you love and respect, for instance, if you're a girl dad, you'll probably love this movie too. And also, I think if you're self-confident, John Cena has a cameo in this movie. And I think John Cena would not have a problem at all with this film, even if he wasn't in it. I think he would be like, you go, girl. I think he would think it was great. Now, the movie is a little tough on guys, but I would say never at their expense. It teases with love. And it teases women too. It's tough on everyone. Anyone who can't take a joke might have a problem with the Barbie movie. But the great thing is that the movie makes the point very specifically and clearly that Ken is not an accessory. That's how he was created in Barbie, so that's how he is presented here. But the movie says, not so fast. Ken has feelings that are just as valid as Barbie's. A lot of Ken's stuff here is not only absolutely hilarious, but incredibly touching. You will be very moved by Ken's story. I can see why there's a rumor going around that Warner Brothers Discovery is considering a Ken spin-off movie, and I would 1,000% watch that spin-off. But this movie is not Ken's movie. So even though his storyline explores some really great and interesting stuff, and he has so many wonderful moments where he shines, I couldn't believe some of the stuff they did with the Kens. And it kept raising the bar. I was like, this is incredible. I would immediately make notes in my mind that I needed to see this again so I could experience it again. And a lot of that was the Kens. But don't expect the same type of closure that Barbie gets, because this is Barbie's movie. And if Ken's going to get some closure, I think it would be in a Ken spinoff, which is one of the reasons that I think the movie is kind of screaming for a Ken spinoff. You're like, okay, now what happens to Ken? And again, his story is fantastic. So I think guys, again, as I said, it's making fun of guys, but it still is acting like all the positive, cool things about guys. So I think guys will get a hoot out of that, I would hope. And I would also hope that guys would be interested in seeing the Barbie perspective. In Barbie land, one thing that I will say is that men take on the social dynamic that women did in the 1950s, the late 1950s, early 60s, when Barbie was first introduced. The roles are reversed. So if you watch this movie and you don't like the way Ken is acting or being treated, well, just remember that that's what women went through for real and still do to a degree. And that is a very powerful statement. It's very subtle. And I hope that dawns on people when they see the movie. Maybe more so the second or third time. But I think that's one of the more brilliant things that the movie does. And I think it's one of the things that will help it in the awards conversation, because it's a very smart movie. And importantly, this is also huge. The movie makes it clear that any extreme is not good. All women is not good, and all men is not good. And I'm glad that the movie made that point. All right, now let's talk box office. Then we'll get to awards. Box office. Barbie, because it's been marketed as a big fun summer blockbuster, it's on track for a huge opening weekend. I think it'll easily clear 100 million and has a shot at unseating Super Mario Brothers, or coming close to it, as the biggest opening of the year. But after opening weekend, that's where I start to get a little bit nervous. I think a lot of it will depend on how it's perceived, not just by men, but by women as well. Again, as the movie itself states, feminism is complicated, but unlike the movie, in real life, even women are not all on the same page. And I could see men turning on this movie. I can guarantee you some men will turn on this movie, but I could see some women having a problem with it, unfortunately, as well. No doubt Barbie will have a strong and ardent fan base, I'm sure of it, who will see the movie multiple times. But I don't know if it has the mass appeal that a billion-dollar movie would need. In fact, I'm almost sure that it doesn't have the mass appeal that a billion-dollar movie needs. I don't think it's going to make $1 billion, to be honest with you, even though that alliteration is fantastic. A billion-dollar Barbie movie. But I don't think it's going to happen. It'll have to settle for hundreds of millions of dollars, which is fine, as long as Barbie turns a profit. Barbie is very fiscally responsible as a movie. Greta Gerwig kept that budget down. Now, of course, they probably spent as much on advertising, but even still, I think that the movie is good enough and strong enough and will appeal to a certain fan base to such a degree that it will turn a profit. And so I think that'll make Warner Brothers Discovery very happy. And I think it'll make it even more happy, the studio even more happy, that it has excellent awards chances. Yes, I'm on the Barbie Oscar train too now. Comedies, though, it's worth noting, have a difficult time in the awards circuit, particularly, the Golden Globes, we'll see how they're reimagined. But the Golden Globes has been the only really good place for comedies because they have a comedy musical category. But in every other awards show, including the Oscars, it's tough for comedies to break through. But and this is definitely a comedy. It's hilarious. I was laughing so hard throughout this film. But Barbie has such a great message, such a unique message for Hollywood. Hollywood hasn't done a lot of feminist movies, and they certainly haven't done any at this scale and with this scope. And Barbie delivers so well on message and branding, and it's just so well made from top to bottom. I think it's got a chance in a lot of categories. I think it's also helped that it has tremendous Oscar pedigree. Greta Gerwig, Noah Baumbach, Margot Robbie, Ryan Gosling, all have been nominated before. So Academy voters already know and love them. So that'll help. That help gives the movie some cachet. Best Picture. Oh, I think for sure it'll get nominated for Best Picture because they can go up to 10 movies. I don't think it's going to win Best Picture. I mean, you never know for sure, but I think there are other stronger contenders. And I don't, every year the Academy likes to change up the message, and they like to recognize new messages, which I think is one of the great things about the Oscars. So I see a path for Barbie to Best Picture, but it's slimmer than just being nominated. Best Director. I loved Greta Gerwig's Little Women. That is a fantastic film, which is also very feminist. But this movie, while even being more feminist, is actually even a better picture. Greta Gerwig has grown impressively as a director. Her creative confidence here is mind-boggling. It's amazing. And again, it's very rare to see in a female filmmaker, which just goes to show how important opportunity is, that Greta Gerwig had the opportunity to get to this position. She has said that she wants to be the first major female studio director that gets to do multiple big studio pictures and is called in to do big blockbusters. And I have to say, after seeing Barbie, I think she can do it. She's doing Narnia next for Netflix, although that's not going to be a theatrical release. But after Little Women and now Barbie, I will never second guess Greta Gerwig. I might call her out on stuff after I've seen a movie, but I will always have confidence in her work. In Gerwig, we trust. Best Screenplay, apparently in the adapted category, because it's based on a doll, I guess. All right, so it's not an original idea. So anyway, yes, I do think it'll be nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay because it's so message heavy. And also, you have the fantastic visual of a wife and husband duo, Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach, as basically a creative Barbie and Ken, which is also, I think, why the film is so well balanced between Barbie and Ken and does such a good job with the Ken storyline. And kudos to Greta Gerwig for bringing in a guy to write with her. I think I can see a lot of women working in Hollywood today who would be like, no, women only, girls' night party only. Once you see the movie, you'll get that. But I think it's great, especially because you're telling Ken's story, that they brought in that perspective from the writing perspective. You know, they talk about representation in the writer's room to tell diverse stories, but I think that you have to apply that across the board. And I'm so happy that this movie did that. Best Actress. Margot Robbie has been nominated for an Oscar before, but I think she could actually win this. This is her signature role. She finally found her signature role, by the way. More so, I think, than Harley Quinn. This is it. She is absolutely incredible. And she's also a producer, so she helped create this in a number of ways. Her role has a ton of nuance, significant highs and lows, and she pulls it all off flawlessly. And let's face it, she becomes Barbie here, and that's incredible. And in a very likable and relatable way, which I think is tough to do for a real live person. And so I think she deserves all the flowers for her performance. Best Supporting Actor, Ryan Gosling. I think it's a very strong chance that he will win this. Supporting Actor has been a great place for out-of-the-box thinking. You know, Johnny Depp for Pirates of the Caribbean, Heath Ledger for The Dark Knight, Ryan Gosling for Barbie. Now, he has a lot of screen time in this movie. There is an argument to be made that he's a lead, but come on. I think this is the best category for him to compete in terms of competition, but also Ken supports Barbie, so it works in that narrative as well. Ryan Gosling has done a lot of great work over the years, but this is also his signature role. He is Ken, and that he can portray Ken's anger and bitterness, but yet still keep him lovable is also very impressive. Not a lot of guys could pull that off. Best Song, I'm Just Ken, performed by Ryan Gosling. Oh, I hope he performs it live at the Oscars. It's something to see in the movie. I mean, this is a whole musical number. This was some of the stuff I was like, that's amazing. I loved this song. I don't see how any other song could top this, especially because it's actually performed in the movie. You know, one of my pet peeves is awarding best songs that are over like the end credits and stuff. I'm like, no, it should be performed in the film. And this is. Oh, it was so good. This is movie magic. I was singing it. I was singing it after I saw the movie, and I'm still singing it today. It's just phenomenal. Best Production Design and Best Costume Design. Now, this is a little obvious from the trailers alone, but once you see the film itself and see how much further they go, you'll be like it's a slam dunk. I mean, again, this is a category where I'm like, I don't see how anybody else could compete. There'll be other nominees, and deservedly so, but I think Barbie deserves the win. The attention to detail here, as I said, is absolutely astounding, and it perfectly captures the Barbie brand and elevates it and gives it depth. And then even beyond Barbie Land, there are some extremely clever visual choices and sight gags that I won't spoil here, but again, they go above and beyond. There are a number of times, again, as I said during the movie, where I was like, that is just so much more extra than it even needed to be. I'm so glad that they did that. The film, as you know, has a huge cast, but there are some other standouts, even if they might not get nominated for an Oscar. Barbies, Issa Rae, Alexander Shipp, and of course, Kate McKinnon. In fact, if it's a slow enough award season, I could see McKinnon getting a Best Supporting nomination for actress as well. Her role is very small, but she's just so good at it that I could see, again, a nomination. Ken's! Simu Liu is a great foil for Ryan Gosling, but you know who really stole a lot of his scenes? And I'm shocked after his lukewarm performance so far in Secret Invasion. But Kingsley Ben-Adir is a fantastic Ken. He was so good here. I was like, that guy's great. Where's this fire in Secret Invasion? Michael Cera also gets some laughs as Alan. He was in here more than I expected. Will Ferrell is in top form and used extremely well. I mean, you get what you expect from Will Ferrell here, but as I said, the way he's utilized is what makes it so impressive. Same with Helen Mirren as the narrator. While America Ferrera and Ariana Greenblatt do nice work in understated but vital roles. There's also one other meaningful performance here that I really loved, and maybe I could see that getting nominated, but I don't want to discuss it here in case you aren't aware that it's in the film. So we'll talk about that in the spoiler review. Now, when Margot Robbie was promoting this movie, she said that when she first read the script by Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach, she felt it was so special that it would never survive the Hollywood machine. And Simu Liu likewise said that when his agent first told him about the movie, his agent said it was the best script that he'd ever read. And when I first heard those comments, I thought they were just hyperbole to sell the movie. I was like, yeah, right. But as I watched Barbie for myself, I actually remembered those comments because it became clear, crystal clear, that they had been telling the truth. That this movie is just that good and just that special. Oh, I loved it so much. I can't believe, just like Margot Robbie, I can't believe this movie actually got made and that Warner Brothers Discovery and Mattel approved it. And it was a little bit of a fight. Margot Robbie has spoken about having to, a Mattel executive flying out to set because they were so against a scene. But Robbie and Gerwig acting it out for them, for the executive on set so they could see what the new, I think that's it. On paper, this stuff maybe seems like you're like, whoa. But when you see the nuance to it and how well it's done and what they really mean and the kindness towards it, it's celebrating women without tearing anybody else down. I think that's important, although with some commentary about how the genders have been treated throughout history. That's the only thing that's kind of in there. Like, see, like, what if you reversed it? And I'm just so happy that this movie was made. I hope that Warner Brothers Discovery and Mattel are rewarded for the risk that they took. I hope that they can say, boy, we sure are glad we did that, instead of like, whew, that was a mistake. I hope they get box office or awards. Either one would be enough, but it would be wonderful if they got both. All right, so that's my non-spoiler review for Barbie. Share your thoughts down below, subscribe today, and of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.